everybody, and welcome to one of this week's versions of Ryan and I's conversation around Philippians. Hey, we hope you guys are having a great week. Hope you had an awesome Palm Sunday.
Yeah. And in addition to Palm Sunday, just wanted to recognize two of you, especially Carly Jeffries. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Carly.
I know it's coming up. It's on the 8th. So anybody who's got Carly's number,
Wednesday.
Just text bomb her on the 8th.
Do it.
Happy birthday. And then, even more exciting, Annalise Schroeder, same day, turning 18. Oh my gosh. It's the big one, eh?
Heck yeah. You can vote.
You can vote. You can do other stuff.
Yeah.
You're like an adult now. Way to be.
You are very much like an adult.
You go, Annalise. Happy birthday
happy for
to you.
Ryan, I feel like you're forgetting someone's birthday.
No, ridiculous.
No, don't. You're ridiculous. No, don't be ridiculous. I think you forgot someone's birthday. Do you know whose?
Whose birthday would I possibly be forgetting?
Yours!
My birthday! I didn't forget.
the tender age of 27 on April Fool's Day. No fooling, but doesn't that explain a lot about Ryan?
Of course it does. What other day could possibly be my birthday than April 1st?
It's April Fool's Day. No fooling. Well, happy birthday, Ryan and Carly and Annalise. We're so happy for you guys and hope you have an awesome quarantine birthday.
Super happy birthday.
Cool. So without further ado, we actually recorded this Philippians conversation last week, but we had so much good conversation about coronavirus quarantines and Lent and how we're dealing with all that we decided to break it up into 2 weeks. And so with that, let's dive into Philippians.
Let's do it. Let's get after it.
Philippians chapter 1, verse 3. I thank my God in all my remembrance of you, always in every prayer of mine for you all, making my prayer with joy, because of your partnership in the gospel from the first day until now. I want to talk about that word partnership. In the Greek, it's koinonia. Everybody say koinonia. Koinonia. And that can be translated a number of ways. Partnership is how it's translated here. You might have fellowship. But what does that really mean? Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, maybe that's it. Really, what this meant in the ancient world was a business partnership, and businesses were often within the family. And so this was a business partnership within the family. So it would be an agreement among parties, a sharing of resources, finances, abilities, skills, relationships. And really, I'm bringing this word, I'm bringing highlights to this. I'm highlighting this word because community is really a main theme in this letter. And community is a really important topic to be talking about right now, because how do we, when we have to keep social distance from each other, how do we maintain community? How do we maintain unity of mission and relationship across the miles? And I just want to thank God for technology where we can still see each other and talk to each other. This would have been a lot harder 100 years ago during the Spanish flu if we had to do this. So writing letters to each other. But here's the thing, is that this is an opportunity for us as a world, globally, across all races and nations, to fight a common enemy. And that's part of what we're doing through our social isolation. So you can look at this at a global level, but you can also look at it in a level of our youth group. We can continue to support each other and pray for each other and interact in the midst of all of this. And so just super practically, some of the ways that we're doing that are through sharing talks like this, conversations like this, through Instagram, and following us there and interacting on that, as well as through the small groups that we're creating. So hopefully some of you, a lot of you who are watching this video are a part of small groups. And I just want to encourage you to be active in those group texts, in setting weekly video chats and praying for each other, and just sharing the verse of the day, or sharing, funny things that you're finding online, because it's important to keep laughing in this time. But because here's the thing, is that community and unity among people is one of the signs of Jesus' church. It says in 1 John that we should share our faith by the world looking in on relationships that we have with each other and saying, wow, look at how they love each other. And so community is a main theme in this letter, and community is a really important thing to be talking about and engaging in right now in this time when we could otherwise be isolated. And so, yeah, Ryan, is there anything that you want to say about that?
So what would change in your small groups if you considered your other small group people as part of your family? Like when you ask, how can I help? You're genuinely asking, how can I help you? What can I do for you? And then when they ask you, how can they help you? Instead of the classic, I just told you about some of the things that I need prayer for, and but there's really nothing else you can do. I think there's a lot.
Yeah, maybe it's just listening and talking. Maybe there's a group text, but like Ryan, you and me are in the office chat group text at church, but like the other day we had a conversation. I was like, hey, Ryan, I really need help with this thing, actually. So like having offline conversations one-on-one where you go deeper, reaching out to each other, being willing to show the vulnerability of asking for help can be a big step of risk, but that's how relationships get deeper, right?
Absolutely.
That's great.
And it's not going to get any deeper unless you actually, lean on somebody. Like I was so happy, Daniel, when you asked for help. And I'm pretty sure that you were kind of happy when I was like, hey, I need some help just bouncing ideas and talking about some other projects that we have going on. And that was just super, super helpful. And I'm so, Sheba.
I'd like to take this opportunity to show off both my dog and my Clover pants. Let's be honest. How many of you are wearing real pants right now? Probably like 5%. Yeah, only because you're in the office, Ryan.
That's right. I have to be presentable.
That's
Otherwise,
right.
a button-up shirt would not have been on the options for today.
That's true. That's true. I love it. Yeah. So we just want to encourage you, like, take opportunities with your small groups to really to go there, to be honest about the hard things that are going on, to be honest about what you need prayer about. Maybe you don't know what you need, other than to simply say, I just feel really frustrated with my family right now, or I just feel really stir crazy, or I just feel really anxious. Would you guys pray for me? So we just want to encourage you to really go there with your small groups. So we'll talk a bit more about community, but let's turn to the subject of hope for a minute. In verse 6, Paul says this: I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ. And who Paul's talking about there is, of course, God. God is the one who began a good work in you and in me, specifically in bringing us to faith in Christ, bringing us the hope of the gospel, that God loves us no matter what we do, that at the end of all time, all sickness will be healed, thank God, which means we'll no longer have to quarantine ourselves. And there's no more death, there's no more suffering at the end of time. This is the hope of the gospel. And as certain as it is that Jesus rose from the dead, that's how certain our hope is, that this will change, this time will pass, and all things will be made right. We'll be able to gather together again. It'll be awesome. More to come on that in a faith video that Ryan's making later this week or next week. But I just want us to remember that he who began a good work in you and in me is the one who will bring it to completion. And so whatever you're struggling with today, know that it's just for a season. This is not going to last forever. I'm so distracted by Sheba looking in the mirror.
It's okay. It's
Oh
great.
my gosh. So let's move to verse 9. Paul says this, "And it is my prayer that your love may abound more and more with knowledge and all discernment, so that you may approve what is excellent, and so be pure and blameless for the day of Christ, filled with the fruit of righteousness that comes through Jesus Christ, to the glory and praise of God." And so a couple things I want to point out here. One is that Paul, while he is in house arrest, is looking forward to what he calls the day of Christ Jesus. And that's the day that will end all of history. That's the day when Christ will come back in victory to sum up the whole story of history, to judge the righteous and the unrighteous, to bring us all to a resurrection from the dead, and to kick off eternity all together as things were meant to be. So we can look forward to the end of self-quarantine. We can look forward to the end of stay-at-home orders. But ultimately, our hope is not just in that, though that will come, thank God. But our hope is in an even better joy of getting to be all together again, where there's no more sickness, no more disease, where everything is made right. And so Paul's looking forward to something here, and we share that hope with him. But Paul also brings up two things in this section. He brings up holiness and love. And so, Ryan, what is going on here around holiness and love?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you've been paying attention, or if you just rewound the video, you'll notice, love is fairly prominent, but he never actually uses the word holiness. And so where we're getting that idea from is when he says, in verse 10, so that you may approve what is excellent and be pure and blameless for the day of Christ, filled with the fruit of righteousness. So that's where, like, if we're tying all three of those together, that's where we get this holiness thing. And Paul is praying for the entire church there to be holy and to be like loving. And I don't know if you guys know this, but it's not particularly hard to get a whole bunch of people together, and be quote unquote loving, to be all chummy and hang out and have a good time, and have a party, if you will, if you're not particularly concerned about holiness, or if I can use even my own word a little bit more, living after Jesus, living the Jesus life, loving God first, primarily as your purpose, and then loving the person next to you, and also loving yourself. As soon as one person in the group is concerned with keeping those priorities, it can all get a little bit iffy, if you know what I mean. And just in the same vein, it's easy to be holy and also kind of by yourself. But if you want to get a group of people together that love each other genuinely and don't see each other as creating issues or dividing, but are perpetually trying to find ways to connect and be genuine and loving with each other, and also keeping in mind and keeping sight of living like pure and blamelessly, and seeking after like the excellent life that God ordained for us, that we have this kind of flesh memory of the way things are supposed to be. Like, to bring those together is actually really, really tough. Mm-hmm. And that's what Paul is commending the people in Philippi at the moment.
For sure. So it's easier to be holier than thou, and it's relatively easy to be nice. But both of those are different from being loving and holy, right?
Definitely. I think that's a really good way to put what I was trying to get at there.
No, I love it. That's great. Yeah. Yeah. Because true community is built on both. It's calling each other to holiness, calling each other to become better versions of ourselves, to strive to love God and love each other well, um, to be patient with each other. 1 Corinthians 13, patient, kind, good, gentle, all those things. But to also do that, spurring each other on toward holiness, toward pursuing God together, saying, like, conversations like we've had, Ryan, of like, how are your quiet times going? Where's your heart at with the Lord?
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are all really good and important things.
Yeah.
But another thing that's in here is that love is not just a feeling. Paul says
Mm-hmm.
in verse 9, that your love may abound more and more with knowledge and all discernment. Yes, love, knowledge, and discernment. Those are always words I put together. Not always, but here's the thing, is that love has a knowing aspect to it. And the biblical word for know is experiential. Like, it's in the way, Ryan, that you and I know each other. I don't just know
Mm-hmm.
theoretically who you are. I don't just know things about you, but like, we've spent time together. We've had conversations. We've gone on walks. We've played games. We've cried together. We've prayed together. This is the kind of knowing that Paul means when he uses the word knowledge, knowing knowledge around love. Like, love
Mm-hmm.
contains in it an experiential knowledge of another person. So we actually have to spend time with each other, and we actually have to draw close to each other. And so, yeah, feelings come out of that, trust comes out of that. But the whole point is that we do something. Like, love has to be expressed through action. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so, so as we move toward concluding this look at Philippians 1 through 11, I just want to give an application point, to let your love have legs. To walk in love means to do something. And so here's one challenge that I want to give you. Whenever you think of someone in your class, in your family, in your small group, in the youth group, just take 5-10 seconds and pray for them. Just spend one entire day. When I think of you, Ryan, throughout today, I am going to pray for you. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Just take one entire day this week. And whenever someone comes to mind, maybe it's even that you're angry at them. Like, I can't believe my brother did this to me. Take time to pray for them, especially if you don't feel like it. Say, Lord, I want you to bless them. Maybe I'm frustrated with them. Maybe I love them a whole lot right now. But God, would you help them to get their homework done? Would you help us all to help my family to get through this difficult time? Lord, would you be with Ryan and Polly as they're raising little Emma and Liam, and sharing a house with Ryan's parents? Just take time to pray for them. And on the other side of that, like Ryan was sharing before, take the step to be honestly known at least in your small group, and share a real vulnerable need that you have. And maybe that's just to talk. Maybe that's just to share that you're frustrated, that you're anxious, whatever it is. But let your love actually lead you into action. So, is there anything else you want to say about that, Ryan?
Yeah. So I just wanted to provide kind of an illustration, Daniel, to talk more about what you were talking about, which that love being incorporated with like knowledge and discernment, and that it requires action. So Daniel and I have both been long distance runners, and we both know the power of having somebody run with you, somebody like a pacer, who's running alongside you, and they're experiencing the stuff that you're experiencing, slipping in mud, jumping over streams, the wonderful feeling of running down like a gentle hill, and they have that knowledge with you of what you're going through, and where you guys have been, and even more than that, they can also help you discern the course. Like, what is the course that you are running? Where are we going? I have a friend of mine who told me the story. He actually ran all the way across, I believe it was New Hampshire, in one go. And he had a pacer with him, so that even while he fell asleep while running, and yes, he kept on running even though he was dozing,
That's
the
impressive.
pacer would would literally keep him on the road. He would run to one side and just kind of give him a gentle nudge. And then as he went all the way across the street while going in the same direction, he gave him a gentle nudge to keep him on the road. And like, that is what I want us to think about when we are growing in love for one another with knowledge and discernment. We're on the same road. We're running in the same direction, and we are here to help keep each other not just on the path, but also to really experience what it is that we're going through.
That's a great image. Yeah. And it captures that. I think it captures koinonia well. There's support, there's relationship, but you're going somewhere together. You're pushing each other, you're helping each other. And that's beautiful. So that's great. Thanks, Ryan. Hey, thanks so much to you guys for watching this. I hope it's been a blessing to you. Encourage you to interact in your small groups about this. Talk about it. What hit you? What stuck out to you? What questions does it bring up? But yeah, we love you guys. We're looking forward to the day when we can hang in person again. But for a while, we'll hang out here. So have a great day.
I'm sorry.